the engine start now?
I can't help you anymore from here.
It's deep.
Should have waited for this car, don't you? That car that was coming.
Then
Okay, that's alright, don't worry about it.
In this video, we have Manory doing a mock driving test at Sherwood Test Center. Throughout this mock test, I'll be talking you through what she's doing and pointing out any minor errors, also called non-critical errors, as well as any critical errors, which are also known as major errors. This was filmed about 2 weeks before her actual driving test. I've never given Manory a lesson before, so this was also her first time driving this car. During the test, we'll go through a variety of situations, including main roads, build-up areas, and 2 driving test maneuvers. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Make sure to subscribe for more mock tests, driving tutorials, and driving tips and tricks. So the first thing that we are going to look at is pre-test questions.
Can I get you to turn the ignition on but don't start the car, please?
So usually at the start of the driving test, the examiner will ask you to turn the ignition on but not to start the car. And usually they also ask people to put the window down. So it's important that you know how to do this. And then the examiner here will be asking you to indicate left. They will ask you to indicate right. They ask you to press the brakes, and then they may also ask you to beep the horn.
over here.
The power button is on this side.
Ah,
Tap it one more time. Okay, and can I get you to put the window down?
my side.
Yes. Okay, can you indicate left for me? Indicate right. And then press the brakes.
I already press.
And then beep the horn. Okay, so whenever you're ready, put the window back up and then start the car. Just let me know when you're ready. You're gonna ask you some questions about the car.
Ah, okay, alright. Okay, ready.
Ready?
Yes.
Okay. Can you show me where the front and rear demisters are?
So here I asked Manory some pre-test questions and she answered all the questions correctly.
Okay. This is front demister.
Mhm.
This is rear demister.
Okay, and then can you turn on the headlights, please?
This sun headlight.
And high beams. All right, that's fine. Okay. So
Do I need to off this?
you can put it back to auto. That's all the questions that I'm gonna ask you. So whenever you're ready, you can go. Just exit that way.
Okay.
So here she puts the car in drive, slightly confused whether the car is on or not, but it's actually on. It's just that this car is a hybrid, so it doesn't make any sound, but she had actually started it already.
Now
I can't help you anymore from here.
it's deep.
Then here she checks, looks around, indicates right. And then here she's turning, but it's a little bit tight here, so she's not gonna make it in one movement. So she's gonna stop, put the car in reverse, so looks around. Here she should have looked at the back physically, puts the car in drive, and then here the car makes it out. Then here there's a giveaway sign.
Turn right.
Then we're gonna be turning right, so she looks around for pedestrians, then goes forwards, looks for cars. Usually exiting this center, it can be a little bit tricky because there are usually cars parked on the side. So here she's looking. Some cars approaching. And then she turns. Then here there's this car which is kind of like parking.
Turn right.
Then at the end of the road, we're gonna be turning right. So indicates. Then looks around. It's a little bit busy. So when you are turning in this kind of situations, you just need to make sure that you are patient and don't rush anything. Even if someone lets you in, you still need to look the other side first before turning. Here, Manory is doing a good job of looking, and then someone is letting her in, and then she takes the gap.
At the traffic lights, turn left.
Then at the traffic lights, we're gonna be turning left. So Manory checks the mirrors, indicates, gets into the turning lane, which is very good, and then the light has changed, so she stops. Up to this point, Manory is doing a good job. She's looking around, she's not rushing, she's taking her time with everything and driving safely. So here we are waiting for the lights to change. It's now green. Manory looks both sides, good observations, and then she turns. And then here she turns and ends up in the right lane, which is fine. Then here the speed limit is 60 kilometers per hour, and Manory is doing a good job of maintaining the speed. She's not driving too slow, and also she's not driving too fast. Then they are slowing down, so Manory adjusts the speed nicely and then slows down, and then she brings the vehicle to a complete stop. Now here she checks the mirror, but it was kind of like a last minute mirror check. She should have checked the mirror before she stops, but this is not a driving error. So here the lights have changed, and we're driving through the traffic lights.
At the traffic light, turn right.
And then at the traffic lights, I've asked Manory to turn right. So these lights, sometimes there's no arrow, so the lights are changing, and Manory brings the vehicle to a complete stop. So here what's going to happen is the green light for people going straight is going to turn on, but there's a red arrow there, so we can't move yet. And then when the arrow disappears, we're supposed to move up to the middle and wait for oncoming vehicles. here there's a Form 1 lane, and Manory checks the mirrors. Then here she's maintaining a safe gap from the parked vehicles.
Take the first road on your left near the bus stop.
Then to turn left, check the mirrors, indicate, and then turn. And then straight after turning, there is a car parked on the left. So Manory checks the mirror, goes around nicely,
At the end of the road, turn right.
repositions after overtaking the car, and then we're gonna be turning right. So this is exactly what you're supposed to do. If there's a car parked on the left, you're supposed to go back to the left. Then here there is a lot of vehicles parked, so Manory is maintaining a safe gap, which is good. And then coming up, I'm gonna ask Manory to do her first maneuver, which is a reverse parallel park.
Okay, I'm gonna get you to go next to the ute and do a reverse parallel park.
So here she comes, checks the mirrors, indicates, and then she stops nicely at a good distance from this white car. Into reverse, check the mirrors, and then shoulder checks. And then she physically look at the back. So here she's reversing. Then she keeps checking, which is good. Turns the steering wheel all the way to the left. Then puts the car on some kind of angle. Then here she's straightening up the steering wheel, still looking around, and then reversing. Checks again, turn the steering wheel all the way to the right. Then here she comes, then comes, and the car is nicely parked. So here she does a very good reverse parallel park. If a driving examiner says this, they will be very happy with it. So there was no mistake with this reverse parallel park. So here she's moving forward a little bit to adjust, but it's already good enough.
Alright, you can drive on when you're ready.
So to move out, puts the car in drive, checks the mirrors, shoulder checks, and then she's moving off. So here Manory is taking her time. If you are on your driving test, you can actually do this as well. You can take your time when moving out. You don't have to rush. So we're gonna be taking the first road on the right. So checks the mirrors, indicates, and then we turn.
At the end of the road, turn left.
And then at the end of the road, we are going left, and this is where Manory makes her first non-critical error. It was actually pretty close to being a critical error. So here we are turning, but when we turn, she didn't turn and end up on the road. She went into the parking lane, and then she realized it later and then moved off again. If she hadn't checked the mirrors afterwards, it would have been a critical error, but she checked. So this is a minor driving error for position. here there is a sign now, 60 kilometers per hour. So Manory is managing the speed nicely. She's not driving too slow, but she's also not driving too fast. Another 60 kilometers per hour sign.
When you get to the roundabout, turn right.
But this road is a winding road, so you most likely won't be able to do exactly 60 kilometers per hour. Even if you get close to 60, when you get to the bend, you have to slow down. So here there is a bend, Manory slows down, and then there's a roundabout. So we're gonna be taking the second exit at the roundabout, which is a right turn. So Manory indicates, looks around. So she chooses a safe gap, and then she turns. And then before exiting, indicate left. So this is pretty good. And then coming up, there is a bit of a bend. And there's also traffic lights. So the recommended speed there of 30 kilometers per hour at the bend. The traffic lights are green, so we can continue. So after the bend, the speed limit goes back to 60. So there is that 60 kilometers per hour sign. And then here, if the driving examiner doesn't give you directions, you just need to keep following the road. But also look out for signs, look out for road markings. You have to be reading signs. For example, here there is a sign which shows us that this lane is ending and we're gonna need to merge soon. So there is that sign on the right hand side. So to merge, you have to check the mirrors, indicate, and then shoulder checks. If there's no one coming, continue. So Manory here does a good job. Then here, Manory is maintaining the speed nicely.
When safe to do so, change to the right lane.
So to change lanes, Manory checks the mirrors, indicates, and does a shoulder check, which is good. And then continue. The speed limit is still 60 kilometers per hour. So Manory is doing a good job of managing the speed. here we are approaching some kind of like traffic lights, and the traffic is stationary, so Manory slows down, checks the mirror on time this time around, and then she brings the vehicle to a complete stop and stops at a good distance from the car in front. And then here the cars are moving again. So this road is gonna lead us to the motorway, and this is where Manory makes her first critical driving error. So when merging on the motorway, it's very important that we speed up so that our speed matches the speed of the vehicles already on the motorway. But here, Manory keeps driving at 60 for quite a long time, and the vehicles behind, they start kind of like doing unsafe overtakes, which shouldn't happen if she was speeding up enough. So she was going a little bit too slow when merging on the motorway, which is a critical driving error. Then after merging on the motorway, then she finally gets up to the speed. So to change lanes, we check the mirrors, indicate, and then shoulder check. So here Manory does a good lane change. But the problem is, after changing lanes, she speeds up too much and goes over the speed limit, which is a critical driving error. She's driving around 82 kilometers per hour in an 80 zone for quite a long time. So to exit, Manory indicates left, checks the mirrors, does a bit of a shoulder check there, and then she exits. But then after exiting, she does not adjust the speed and keep driving around 67 kilometers per hour for quite a long time after passing the sign. This is a critical driving error. When you exit the motorway, you need to adjust the speed immediately to the new speed limit.
At the roundabout, 10 right, third exit.
So here, Manory recognizes that you need to be in the right lane, so she changes lane, checks the mirrors, indicates shoulder check. And then here we are approaching the roundabout. So to go right at the roundabout, you have to indicate right when entering the roundabout, and you also need to indicate left when exiting the roundabout. And here, Manory does a good job. So here we are coming, look around, there's a gap, so we take it. So go through the first exit, the second exit, and then indicate left. Then here Manory does a good job to check the left side mirror. And then here there is a Form 1 lane, so the two lanes are joining into one lane. So Manory does a mirror check and a shoulder check. It was slightly late, but I didn't mark this down because she checked. And then here the speed limit is 60 kilometers per hour. There is a pedestrian crossing coming up. So looking around, and then there's a roundabout coming up.
At the roundabout coming up and left.
So at the roundabout, we are going to be going left, which is the first exit. So here, Manory slows down the car, indicates left, checks. There's a bit of a gap coming, so enters the roundabout and then take the first exit. And then straight after this, you can see that the speed limit is 60 kilometers per hour. There is a vehicle which is parked on the left-hand side, so Manory keeps a safe distance. More cars parked on the left-hand side, and Manory maintains a safe gap. So here the speed limit is gonna drop from 60 to 40 kilometers per hour, and Manory does well. She recognizes that and then she slows down. And then here this sign means there is a pedestrian crossing coming up. So here Manory is slowing down. There is also a speed bump. Sometimes you see these situations where there is a speed bump and a pedestrian crossing. So Manory looks both sides, which is good. And then at the roundabout, we're gonna be turning right. So Manory looks around, indicates. So here she's kind of like taking it easy to see where these cars inside the roundabout are going. There is a gap, so she enters the roundabout and then indicates left. And then here there's a pedestrian crossing straight after this, but there's no one there. Then here we're gonna continue going. So here the speed limit is still 40 kilometers per hour. And then there's also a speed bump here. So here there's no pedestrian crossing, but this is kind of like more like a shared zone. So here Manory decided to stop. The other car on the other side had also stopped. And then here there is a slow point. When you are going through a slow point, you want to be doing around 20 kilometers per hour. So Manory goes around, she goes through nicely. The speed limit is still 40 kilometers per hour at this point. And then here there is a sign which shows that the speed limit is now 50 kilometers per hour. So here there are more cars which are parked on the left hand side. So Manory maintains a safe gap. And then when turning left, Manory makes another critical driving error. there was a car which was coming from the right hand side, and the first car turned left, but the second car was going a little bit too fast, and Manory turns. So this is a critical driving error. If the first car is turning left but the second car is going too fast, we still need to wait.
At the traffic lights, turn right. For this car, don't you? That car that was coming.
Then
Okay, that's alright, don't worry about it.
And then here Manory makes another driving error. When the traffic lights change to green, but there is no green or red arrow and we are turning right, we are supposed to move to the center of the intersection and wait. And even if the lights change to red when we are in the middle, we can still turn. But here, Manory waits behind the line, which is a non-critical driving error. And then here we get a green arrow, so Manory turns. So she turns nicely and ends up on the left hand side. And this road, the speed limit is 50 kilometers per hour. So here Manory is maintaining a good speed, and then we're gonna be turning left. So Manory checks the mirrors, indicates left, and then she turns. Here the speed limit is 50 kilometers per hour. So to turn left, Manory checks the mirrors, indicates, and then she does the shoulder check and then turns. And then here there is no sign, so the speed limit is 50 kilometers per hour.
Continue, take the first street on your right.
We're gonna be taking the road on the right. So indicating, and then here Manory should have turned, but she decided to wait. This is a non-critical driving error for judgment. And then turn. So after turning, there are cars parked on the left-hand side, so Manory does a good job to go around. And then after passing those cars, she repositions to the left and then continue. And here there are more cars which are parked on the left, so Manory goes around again. And then a stop sign coming up, and Manory recognizes it and then She slows down and brings the vehicle to a complete stop. No one is coming, so she continues.
Turn right.
To turn right, checks the mirrors, indicates, and then turns. Ends up in a good position. Goes around the parked cars. So here there is a sign which shows us that there is a bend which is coming up and the recommended speed is around 30 kilometers per hour. So here Manory is slowing down. She's positioning the car properly, keeping left. Even after the bend, she ends up on the left, which is good. So here we're going to be doing our last maneuver, which is doing a U-turn using the street on the right. And here Manory makes some mistakes which are non-critical driving error. First, when doing this U-turn, we are supposed to be positioned a little bit slightly to the middle, but Manory is too close to the left. So here she turns, goes around, but ends up in a bit of an awkward position because of the way we started. And then here, when exiting the U-turn, we are supposed to indicate left, but Manory does not indicate left. These are non-critical driving errors. And then here we are back to the bend. So Manory slows down and then keeps to the left. So parked vehicles, and Manory is going around the parked vehicles nicely. And then here we are coming to the crossroad. So Manory slows down, looks both ways, but there are cars coming which are very far, but Manory decides to wait. She could have gone here. This is a minor driving error for judgment. So she waits and waits and waits. So you're not gonna fail the test if you do this once or twice, but if you keep doing this and you're not taking safe gap and you are overcautious, you can actually fail the driving test.
At the traffic lights, turn right.
Then here Manory brings the car to a complete stop and stops at a good distance from the car in front. Then here we get a green arrow. Manory is doing a very good job looking both sides. And then we turn. And then here the left lane is ending. So Manory checks the mirror, does a shoulder check, and then she continues.
The next set of traffic lights, turn left.
And then here this car was turning right. So if a car is turning right, we can actually go around it and overtake. But Manory waits behind it, which is a non-critical driving error. You can actually see that the cars behind us were going around. So Manory choose the left lane. So here we are coming to the traffic lights. So to turn left at the traffic lights indicates, and then the light change suddenly to amber and then red, and Manory does a good job of bringing the car to a stop and also checking the rear view mirror. And then here the light is green, so Manory does a good turn. Then the speed limit is 40 kilometers per hour. There is this car which is kind of like pulling out, and Manory does a good job of slowing down. And then here we are going to be turning left and going back to where we started from. So here, checks the mirror, then we turn.
Then pull over on the left after that car.
And then here I've asked Manory to pull over on the left. So here she's kind of like parking, and she was about to kind of like scrape the wheels, and I had to assist her, but I didn't mark this down as driving error because this was towards the end.
More to the right. Yeah. Okay, once you finish, put the car in park.
So this is the end of the driving component of the mock test, and at this point we went through some feedbacks. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna use this marking sheet from one of my students who did very well on her driving test, and I'm gonna be using this to talk about Manory's driving and why, if this was a driving test, she wouldn't have passed. So first, let's go through the critical driving errors. So the first critical error was when she didn't merge properly on the motorway. She was driving a little bit too slow. So this is usually marked under progress on the driving test. Now, because of where she did this mistake, it was a motorway, and when you're merging on the motorway and you are driving too slow, this is actually considered dangerous. So because of where she did this, it's a critical driving error. If you usually drive a little bit slow on the main road and there is no, it's not like a dangerous situation, then usually this is marked as a minor driving error. But because this was on the motorway, merging on the motorway, going too slow is considered a bit dangerous. So this will be marked as a critical driving error. The second mistake is when Manory was driving over the speed limit on the motorway. So she was doing about 82 kilometers per hour for quite a bit when she was changing lane, and so this is considered as a critical driving error. Now in Queensland, speed is considered as a major mistake. If you go over the speed limit, you can see that the speed only has one box, and that box is directly connected with a critical driving error. So if you go over the speed limit and your examiner say you were over the speed limit, usually this is an immediate fail in the driving test. And then the third one was again connected with the speed. So when we exited the motorway, Manory is supposed to slow down immediately and bring the speed down, but she kept driving over 60. After exiting the motorway, you want to immediately adjust the speed to the new speed limit. The next critical error was when Manory was turning left and she did not give way to a vehicle on the main road which was coming from the right hand side. So when turning left, it's important to judge the speed of the cars which are turning. If they are going too fast, you need to make sure that you slow down and give way. So this will be marked under judgment. She didn't read the situation properly. She should have stopped and give way. Now, when it comes to the minor driving errors, the ones that we can kind of like talk about, the first one was for road position after turning left. So the left turn that Manory did, and she was kind of like driving in the parking lane. She didn't check where she was going before turning. This will be left turn position after. So your examiner will put a tick here in this box for not turning left properly. And then here, the next one will be judgment. After Manory didn't give way to the other cars, she now started kind of like becoming overcautious. She was waiting too long. For example, when turning in this situation, this car which was coming from the opposite direction was too far, and Manory decided to wait and wait and wait. This is a minor driving error for judgment. The same goes on for the time when we were going straight at the crossroad and the cars on the main street were too far, and Manory decided to wait and wait and wait. Again, this will be marked as a minor driving error for judgment. the last thing we can talk about here regarding Manory's driving is the U-turn. So when she did the U-turn, her positioning before the U-turn was a little bit off. Your examiner will put a tick for maneuver position. Now, what do I think of Manory's driving? I think she's actually quite ready for the driving test. At the start of the mock test, I actually initially thought she was going to pass the mock test because of the way she started. She started off nicely, but I'm not exactly sure what happened towards the last 15 minutes of the mock test. That's where she started making all these mistakes after the motorway, coming off of the motorway. So if she can practice her motorway, she's actually ready for a driving test. If I'm training someone and they are making this little mistake and the mistake can easily be fixed, I usually tell them, book the test. You are ready to go for the test. So in this situation, even though Manory is not perfect, her driving is not perfect, but she's actually ready for the driving test. Anyway, guys, if you've made it to this point, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. So if you did, please give the video a thumbs up and also subscribe for more driving related videos. Keep practicing and stay positive. You'll get your license in no time. Thanks for watching.